Okay. Why you are not a failure, why traditional parenting advice is failing you and your ADHD child. So my name is Kat Sweeney. I am a master certified ADHD coach. I also happen to have ADHD. I have raised a few ADHD kids who are now adults, or at least adult-ish, chronologically. I am a business owner, a disability and queer rights advocate, presenter, a co-host for a local radio show here in Rochester, a mom of two adorable dogs, and a blogger and a bunch of other things. So it's a little bit about me. I have been an ADHD coach for a few years. I opened my business a little over a year ago. So where I started and why I became an ADHD coach. So I was the weird kid in school, the forgetful kid, the kid who didn't live up to her potential, lost things, was unorganized, didn't have a ton of friends, wasn't always good at hygiene, and in general was just a strange child. That led to being a high school dropout at age 16. I became a mom at 17. And then I was a mom to two ADHD kiddos with wildly differing presentations of ADHD. One was very similar to my own, and one was very opposite. So I had one inattentive and one hyper. And I didn't have the tools or the resources, and I felt like a bad mom, and I felt like I was failing my kids, and I tried everything that everybody said to do, timeouts, the take things away, be very consistent, and I just consistently felt like I was getting it wrong. And it was a terrible feeling. It's very isolating. It's very confusing. I'm sure some of you have been there. Um, we did find some resources and succeeded in getting both children through school and graduated. And it was only then that the strange child that I was when I was a child started to think about what I could do besides be a mom, because all of the lifetime of not living up to my potential and being told I wasn't capable, by the time I was done raising my kids, which was young, I fully believed that that was the only thing I was capable of doing. And that's because my parents didn't have the tools to help me, and then I didn't have those tools for my kids. And that's what I want to give to other parents, is the tools and the strategy and the knowledge that, you're not alone, and that much of what you are going through is not abnormal. It may not be typical, but it's not abnormal. Your kids aren't broken. You're not broken. You're not failing your kids. Today, I'm a successful business owner. I love what I do, and I've made my work life fit my brain instead of trying to fit my brain into um, society and the rest of the world. So that is a little bit about me. And I just told you my why. So, have you ever felt like a bad parent? I'm gonna drop it in the chat. Anybody? Or wished that you understood your ADHD child better? Yeah. Well, this is why I'm here. You are not a bad parent. Your child is not broken. It's the parenting advice that's broken. For the record, I don't think traditional parenting advice works very well for neurotypical children, but it works even less well for children with ADHD and other types of neurodivergent brains. So why why doesn't it work? Well, There's a bunch of reasons, but the main one is that our kids with executive functioning struggles with ADHD are about 30% behind their neurotypical peers in developing their executive functioning skills. So often we're asking them to do things that they actually cannot do yet. And a lot of that is because we're comparing them to neurotypical kids of the same age. Our ADHD kids often have sensory struggles that our neurotypical kids may not have, that lead to overwhelm, meltdowns, refusals to obey, school avoidance, and other things in that vein. We know science has shown us that our kids with ADHD have underdeveloped or slower developing prefrontal cortexes, which is another reason that they can't reason the way a child at the same neurotypical child at the same age is able to do. And discipline and punishments for ADHD kids doesn't work. It's been proven not to work. And when it does look like it's working, often what's actually happening is the child is learning to mask out of fear instead of actually learning the behavior for the reason that the parent is trying to teach. So punishment is at best ineffective and at worst actually damaging to your child's self-esteem and development rate. And it's damaging to the relationship that you have with your child. Children with ADHD hear approximately 20,000 more negative input from the adults around them by the time they're 10 to 12 years old. 20,000 more than a neurotypical child. Stop that, sit still, you're doing it wrong, etc., etc. That constant negativity leads to dropping out, it leads to poor self-esteem, it leads to drug and alcohol addiction, it leads to bullying, it leads to poor relationship management. So there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Does anybody have any questions before I move on? Okay. So what does work? What works for kids with ADHD is to become their coach instead of their enforcer. And why does becoming like their coach work? Well, because a coach works in a collaborative and curious way. Coaches are attempting to get the best out of the people that they coach, and when we coach, it's less about telling what to do and more about strategizing to find the solutions that work for both the parent and the child. So I am a big believer in the 3 C's, and this is what I believe are the keys to parenting with children with ADHD. And that is, number one is connection. The connection that you have with your child is more important than homework. It's more important than taking a bath. It's more important, it is the most important thing in successfully raising children who are able to regulate and feel safe and grow up with positive self-esteem. And that can look like a lot of different things, but the first thing I encourage parents to do is keep that in mind, because it's always more important that your relationship with your child is secure and that your child themselves is secure before any of the rest of the issues can be addressed. It's not going to matter if you can get your child to take a shower every day if you have to battle for 45 minutes each day to do it. It's just not going to work for anybody. The second thing in there is to learn to co-regulate with your child. So many of our ADHD kids have extreme difficulty in managing their emotions and regulating their own emotions. And no one is born knowing how to do that, right? Nobody is born knowing how to regulate their own emotions. That's why our parents have to help us do it when we're babies, picking us up, soothing us, rocking us, walking with us, feeding us, etc. That's them regulating us for us. Kids develop the ability to regulate at a slower rate if they have ADHD. So, for example, a neurotypical child at age 7 might be able to listen to reason and understand that later means later. A child with ADHD at 7 really only has the emotional regulations of about 4.5 to a 5-year-old. And so they're less likely to understand the concepts of things like later, delayed gratification, self-soothing, anything of that nature. It comes later. And so with co-regulating, it's a matter of making sure that you can calm down and then helping your child learn how to do that. And I have a whole series of things about how to do each of these steps. So this is just like the broader base. So connecting, co-regulating is if you can manage to co-regulate with your child, um, you're both going to be able to come at a solution from a clear mind instead of a activated mind that's in fight, flight, freeze, appease mode. Um, so you can't really get to the solution. Uh, was somebody asking a question? Okay. Okay. And then the third step is collaborating with your kids. So our children with ADHD, a vast majority of them struggle with the need for autonomy. Okay. They need to feel like they are in charge, um, or at least that they have the choices. So anytime we tell our child what to do, we run the risk of activating that defensive mechanism that they have. And so it's much better and much more effective to collaborate with your child to find solutions whenever possible. It's not always going to be possible. You can't collaborate about not running out in the street in front of traffic. There's just no collaborating there. You have to not run out in the street in front of traffic. But most of the time, we tend to say no or make rules without really thinking about why we're saying no, what the child might actually be asking underneath the question, and what the real need is. And so we've found that with the kids, when they are asked to come up with their own solutions, really insightful, creative kids, they come up with a lot of things that we would never have thought about. And I will give you an example. I was working with a parent who had an ADHD child who just absolutely hated getting in the shower. It was a battle every single night, or every time it was time to take a shower. It was a big battle. And, she tried rewarding, she tried punishing, she tried threatening, yelling, being nice, begging. Nothing was working. And finally, I said, have you really asked your child what would help? And she's, no, not really. And then she came back to me the next session and she said, we talked about it and we realized she's bored in the shower. She's just bored. And so they came up with a solution of, putting a radio in the bathroom so that she could listen to music or a CD or whatever. And then suddenly it wasn't fixed, but it was much easier to get her child to take a shower because she was looking forward to it. So, and the mom was like, I would never have thought it was because she was bored in the shower. Like, so that's how the collaboration piece can really come into play. Our kids are so creative and so resourceful. So really lean into that. So what does your parenting look like right now? Anybody want to give me some, you can come off mute or type.
I mean, I'll share ours. Hi, everybody. My name is
Hi.
Laura.
Yeah.
Um, my son is 9, and I think we're currently in a doing our best to be in a transition. I think my husband and I are in our mid 40s, and I think we're raised in a really different way to how we're trying to raise our kids, just in general. But in particular, our son, we are trying a lot of different things. So I wouldn't say I think we're still wanting to connect with our kids to your point, but we're, on a journey to figure out what is best for them.
Thank you for sharing that. I see Leanne posted lots of demand avoidance and struggles with daily tasks. Yeah, that was, I know for one of my two, that was probably the number one issue was the demand avoidance and routines. So, yeah, so a lot of times there's a lot of struggles, there's a lot of arguing, there's some tears, there might be some tantrums. They might be your kids, they might be your own tantrums. It gets frustrating for both mom or dad and child when things aren't working. How would you like it to be? If you had a magic wand, you'd like for her to just listen to what we told her to do. Yeah, yep. Like a calm house, I would imagine. Like a house where people are happy, not a lot of fighting, less tears, possibly less swearing, depending on how old you, more fun as a family. Yeah, less frustration, more easiness day to day. Yeah. So, what we could do in 8 weeks. So, I am doing a program that I am going to send you all an invite to that's called Navigating ADHD Parenting. And it is basically about becoming your child's coach. It is a group program. It's 6 group sessions and 2 individual sessions. So, you get an individual session with me at the beginning and at the end, and then 6 weekly sessions in between, where we're really going to delve into those connection, collaboration, and co-regulation. We're also going to talk about routines and strategies, and really get into how to do all those individual pieces. Um, we're going to talk about curiosity and how becoming a child's detective um, is going to benefit you again better than being their enforcer. And you're going to walk away feeling much more centered and with strategies that actually work for your family. Um, and so, let me talk. What do you think your life will look like if nothing changes in the future? What are you afraid of your life will look like if something doesn't change, or maybe your child's life? Worry about your daughter hearing so much negative said about her and always being told no. I applaud you for worrying about that. I think that a lot of um, I think it's getting better now, but I think we've grown up with parents who weren't so worried about that and were more worried about doing what they're told. And yeah, these ADHD kids get a lot of negative impact, and it really does affect them. A lot of parents I know are worried about high school dropout rates, kids never being able to get a job, um, drug and alcohol use, um, other mental health issues. A lot of ADHD kids also have anxiety or depression or other neurodivergent mental health struggles. And I know for a lot of parents, they're worried that the stress that they feel right now is going to continue until their child moves out. And neither the child nor the parent wants to live like that, right? A lot of parents are afraid that their kids won't be able to hold a job because they can't stand being told no. Like there's a lot of different kinds of things people are worried about. So what do you think you need to get from where you are now to that dream of what you'd like your family to be like? Hmm. What do you think is missing, or what do you need? Better communication with your son, more active learning, yeah, support. Sometimes people need better understanding of how ADHD is actually impacting their child's brain or their child's and their own brain if they also have ADHD. Strategies, um, not feeling alone often, community. This is the program that I'll be starting in August. As I said, it's an 8-week program. It's becoming a coach like parent to your ADHD child. It's going to be a small group of only a maximum of 8, a minimum of 5, I believe is what we're going for. You'll get the 2 intake session, the 6 small group coaching sessions, a one-on-one bonus session at the end. You'll have unlimited support in our private pop-up Facebook group. And I am launching a parent membership in September. And anybody who goes through this program will get the first 3 months free in that. And I'll send you some information about that later. So that's going to start in August. It is um, the total cost is $4.99. However, everybody who has attended this is going to get a discount for $100 off. That brings it down to $3.99. And I am set up through a firm, so it can bring it down to as low as, I believe, just under $40 a month if you pay through a firm. So that stuff's all going to get sent to you after this. Does anybody have any questions about any of the what we've talked about so far today? Questions about the 3 C's, about what being a coach really looks like? Anything? Yes, yes, the groups are virtual. Everything is virtual right now. If you are local to me, I'm in Rochester, New York. I do have coaching services available in person as well, but the groups for now are virtual, yes. Right now, the first cohort group is going to meet on Thursdays at noon Eastern. Um, but again, they will be recorded, so if you miss one, you can watch the replay. Um, if when I send you the information, if it's something that you're very interested in, but that time doesn't work for you, let me know because my intention is to start a cohort every month or so, and I can adjust times based on need. So first one's going to be on Thursdays at noon, but let me know if something else would work better for you in the future. Um, if you have any other questions, if this program isn't right for you, I also do one-on-one. Yes, it will be as long as the recording of this session is available as long as when I hit stop it, the tech gods are friendly to me. Yes, it is being recorded and my intention is to send it to you all. And in addition to the program, I do have one-on-one coaching for both parents and for children. Typically, 8 is the youngest that I start with, but if you have a child younger than that and you're interested, contact me, let me know. Um, does anybody have any questions about, connecting with their kids or how to co-regulate? I had this for 45 minutes, so we have some extra time if there's questions people would like to talk about. What step do you think you can take today to become more coach-like to your child? Yes, Laurel, excellent. Ask more questions. Be curious. Be curious. If that was that is the one thing I would ask you take away from this. If you can become curious and compassionate, um, your child, it's going to be so much easier to look at your child and see that your child is not giving you a hard time. Your child is having a hard time. And when you can look at him or her with compassion and curiosity, the collaboration will come much, much easier. I'm going to read this. My male 42 have ADHD. My daughter 14 has ADHD, both not medicated. Um, any general tips? So I think you missed the first part. I would say the big tip I would give you would be collaboration. Really, really get curious about what your child thinks will help and what works, what they hate, why they hate it, and be willing to do a lot of trial and error. My program, I recognize, is not accessible to everyone. I do have a mailing list. I think many of you are on it. I have a blog that was coming out weekly. Right now, it's about every other week. I have a lot of free resources. I have a Facebook group for people with ADHD. I have a Facebook group for people with kids with ADHD. All of that's free. You can find all of that on my website, which is allbelong.com. And most of it will be emailed to you again after this. Um, yeah, get as educated as you can and ask as many questions as you can. That would be my big suggestion. Other Any other questions? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I just want to encourage you, if you do have questions after this, to go ahead and email me. I love to give away stuff for free. So if you have a question or something you're struggling with, I will send you a resource I have or a blog I have or whatever I can. It's really important to me to be as accessible as possible to as many people as possible, and to help parents and help kids. I want to empower you to empower your kids to grow up to be the amazing people that we all know they can be. So if there aren't any other questions, I will go ahead and let you all go. Thank you so much for being here, taking some time out of your day. And again, let me know if you have any questions at all. I would love to get to know you better and get to know your kids. Yes, aside from this program that I'm doing, I'm hoping in September to be opening some small groups in addition that aren't as program focused, that are a little more open. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so glad everybody enjoyed it. And hopefully you will get the recording. Tech isn't always friendly to me, so we're gonna do our best. And yeah, watch for things. I am having a parent like social gathering virtually also at the end of the month. That'll be included in the stuff I email you too. And if you just want to like hang out and meet some other parents going through the same stuff, we can do that. Yes, yes, contact me for sure. Awesome. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. I hope that the sun is shining and the ADHD demons are low today. So have a great day.